There is a version of you that never grew up, and it is running your life from the shadows. You do not see it, you do not hear it, but every time you overreact to something small, every time you feel a wave of shame that does not match the situation, every time you find yourself repeating the same patterns with different people in different cities in different years, that is the child, still there, still waiting, still trying to get something it needed decades ago from people who cannot possibly provide it. You have built an adult life on top of an unhealed childhood, and the foundation is cracked, and no amount of success or love or achievement will stop the cracks from spreading until you go back down and meet what you left behind. You have done everything right and still feel wrong. The career is stable, the relationship exists, the bills are paid and the body is functional, and by every external measure, you should be fine. But fine is not what you feel. What you feel is a low hum of anxiety that never fully quiets, a sense that something is missing that you cannot name, a tiredness that sleep does not touch. You have tried to fix it with goals, with distractions, with the next version of your life that was supposed to finally feel like home. None of it worked, because the thing that is broken is not in your present. It is in your past, and the past does not stay past. It bleeds forward into everything, coloring your perceptions, shaping your reactions, choosing your partners before you know you are choosing. You flinch at things that should not make you flinch. A tone of voice, a certain kind of silence, the feeling of being overlooked in a room full of people. The reactions are instant and disproportionate, and by the time your adult mind catches up, the damage is already done, the defensive words already spoken, the wall already raised, the distance already created. You tell yourself you will do better next time. But next time comes and the flinch is faster than your intentions. It does not come from the present moment. It comes from a moment decades ago that your body never forgot, even though your mind has tried to. Jung called it the inner child, not as metaphor, not as poetry, but as psychological reality. The child you were does not disappear when the body grows. It remains preserved in the unconscious, carrying every wound that was never healed, every need that was never met, every message that was installed before you had the capacity to question it. The child is not a memory. It is a living presence inside your psyche, and it influences your adult life far more than your adult mind wants to admit. Every pattern you cannot break, every trigger you cannot explain, every relationship dynamic that keeps repeating despite your best efforts. The child is there, pulling strings you cannot see, trying to resolve something that happened before you knew what resolution meant. The wounds are not always dramatic. This is what makes them so hard to see. You do not need to have survived obvious trauma to carry a wounded child. The wound can be subtle. A parent who is physically present but emotionally unavailable. An environment where your needs were treated as inconvenient. A household where love was conditional and the conditions were never clearly stated. The wound can be the slow accumulation of moments where you learned that who you are is not acceptable, that your emotions are too much, that your presence is a burden. These lessons do not announce themselves. They seep in quietly, and by the time you are old enough to notice them, they have already become the water you swim in. You do not question them because you do not see them. They are just how things are. The child adapts to survive. This is what children do. If expressing anger was punished, the child learned to suppress anger. And now you are an adult who cannot access your own rage, who swallows everything until it turns to depression or explodes in ways that terrify you. If being needy was shamed, the child learned to need nothing from anyone. And now you are an adult who cannot ask for help, who pushes people away the moment they get close, who mistakes isolation for independence. If love was unpredictable, the child learned to be hypervigilant. And now you are an adult who scans every room for danger, who cannot relax even in safe environments, who exhausts yourself monitoring threats that do not exist. The adaptations made sense once. They were intelligent responses to impossible situations. But the situations changed, and the adaptations did not. You are still running survival strategies designed for a childhood that ended years ago. Healing the inner child is not about wallowing in the past. It is not about blame, not about making your parents into villains, not about constructing a narrative of victimhood that excuses everything. It is about acknowledgement. It is about turning toward the parts of yourself you have been running from and saying, I see you. I know you are there. I know you are still hurting. And I am finally ready to give you what you needed. The giving is not complicated, but it is difficult. It requires you to feel what you have spent your life avoiding, the grief you never processed, the anger you were not allowed to express, the loneliness that was too big for a small body to hold. These emotions do not expire. They wait, and they will keep influencing your life until you finally turn toward them and let them move through you. The child does not need you to fix the past. The past cannot be fixed. The child needs you to witness it, to acknowledge what happened, to validate that it was hard, to provide the compassion that no one provided then. You have been parenting yourself all along, but the parenting has been harsh. Listen to how you speak to yourself when you make a mistake. Listen to the voice that calls you stupid, worthless, pathetic. That voice is not yours. It is an echo of something that was said to you, or implied to you, or demonstrated to you before you had any defense against it. You internalize the criticism, and now you deliver it to yourself, believing it is truth when it is only trauma. Healing means changing the voice. It means learning to speak to yourself the way a loving parent would speak to a struggling child. Not with indulgence that ignores reality, but with compassion that holds reality gently. The child is not trying to sabotage you. It is trying to protect you. Every defense mechanism, every avoidance pattern, every wall you have built, these are the child's attempts to keep you safe from pain. It remembers even when you do not. The defenses are not your enemy. They are outdated protection systems that need updating, not destruction. You do not heal by going to war with yourself. You heal by understanding that every part of you, even the parts you hate, developed for a reason. The reason may no longer apply, but the part deserves gratitude before it deserves release. Jung believed that the goal of psychological development is wholeness, not perfection, not the elimination of darkness, but the integration of all parts into a self that can hold contradictions without splitting. The inner child is one of those parts. It cannot be amputated. It cannot be outgrown. It can only be integrated, brought into relationship with the adult self, given a seat at the table, instead of being locked in the basement where it pounds on the floor of your consciousness and disrupts everything you try to build. The life you are living is the child's unfinished business made manifest. The partners you choose, the conflicts you create, the ceilings you cannot break through. Until the child is healed, these patterns will continue. Not because you are weak, not because you are not trying hard enough, because the child is still trying to get something it needed, and it will keep trying until it finally receives it from you. You are the parent now. You are the one the child has been waiting for. And the healing does not require you to go back in time. It only requires you to go back inside.